Hello guys, this is another episode of Sports 101 and it's a packed studio today. I have Lucky here, I have Kofi here, and as you know, I'm Sammy Breward. We will be looking at international break. It's the international break. There are some exciting matches coming up. There's World Cup qualifiers, there's the from the African scene, from the European scene, from every part of the world. We'll pay special attention to the African continent. We'll talk about the Ghana Black Stars and preparations for that double header against Chad and Mali. The Black Stars are already in Chad. Looking forward to that game today against Chad. There's some issues that have come up with the sports ministry and budget as well. We'll delve deeper into that conversation. Also, we'll be talking about player power in football. We've seen some issues during this transfer window. Alexander Isak, top of the list. We've seen Yohan Wissa as well. You know, there's Mark Gahey, who somehow decided to play the gentleman and then lost out on that dream move to Liverpool. And so we'll look at Alejandro Garnacho forcing the move to Chelsea. We'll look at players like Jadon Sancho. These are just examples of, some of the issues that came up in the transfer window. So we'll be talking about player power in football. Where do we draw the line? And are players becoming too powerful? And so these are some of the issues that we will be looking at, as well as some other trending stories in the world of football. Guys, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah.
Yes, Lucky.
I've been around.
You've been around.
Yes, behind the scenes. As always, behind the scenes, ensuring that production, everything.
A lot of subscribers have been asking about Lucky. Where have you been?
But you should have told them I've been around.
Kofi. Yeah. Percy was here.
Yeah. Evans
was here as well. But yourself, you chose to be absent.
No, behind the scenes, we're working behind the scenes.
But it's the international break.
Yeah.
Today, the Black Stars are in action against Chad. I'm sure you know about the team available. Alexander Djiku and Joseph Paintel are out of the squad. Paintel as a result of delayed flights. Djiku because of his contract issues. He is supposed to sign a deal.
Sparta Moscow.
Yes. So these are the two guys that are missing out from the Black Stars squad. Let's look at it holistically. There has been talk about, a slash in the budget from the sports ministry, the issues about transportation, the issues about bonuses, and then we get into the game proper. The game is at 1 p.m. Ghana time. What's your take on all of this?
Well, for me, I think that I have a little reservation with the timing of that press conference or that meet the press that the sports ministry organized. I feel that, listen, at this crucial moment of the World Cup qualifiers, we need 6 maximum points to ensure that we book our tickets to the US, Mexico, and Canada. I think that we do not need the attention that this kind of attention, I think, is too negative around the team, because obviously the boys back in Chad, they know what's happening. They read the news a lot. They have people down here. They hear what's going on. So I was of the view that the ministry would wait after the 2 games, then they would come out to release the budget. So no matter what happens in those games, they will come out to release the budget. Just like the FA have said that after the game between Chad and Mali, they will come and respond appropriately to the press conference that was organized by the ministry. That's my only issue with the ministry. I think that the ministry, you cannot fault the ministry for everything they've done in relation to the budget, because for years, for time and time again, we've clamored for us to see how much we've been spending on our national teams, i.e. the Black Stars, under the XY administration. For the entirety of the 8 years, there was never a single moment that we clearly saw the itemized, estimate or budget from the Black Stars. We never saw that the minister went to, Mustafa Ahmed went to Parliament. He would disclose it. He didn't disclose it. Lots of journalists called for it. He didn't disclose it. But I quite remember when the current administration, the president promised that, listen, under his tenure, he is going to ensure that the budget in relation to the national team, the Black Stars, is always put out for Ghanaians to know. There came a point we thought that no, this might not happen, but just a couple of days ago, the ministry made the budget public in relation to what we'll be spending on Chad and Mali as well. And lots of people have come out to have issues with the itemized or estimate from the FA, not what the ministry did, because almost everybody is in agreement with the slashes that the ministry has done, especially the issue of that 5,000 that was budgeted for fuel. I did my digging. I tried to do a little research, and Gore is sponsoring the Black Stars. Gore is a Ghanaian-owned oil marketing company. So if Gore is sponsoring the Black Stars, why then would we need money for fuel? Then I came to realize that the kind of sponsorship the FA, went into with Gore is a bit weird. Sammy, this is the deal. According to the report or information I'm getting, whenever the FA purchases $100,000 worth of fuel, they get $100,000 worth of fuel for free. So it's like a buy one get one free kind of agreement, and that's not sponsorship. Sammy, I don't know what you understand or what the people watching us understand by sponsorship, but when it comes to sponsorship, how then do I spend so much in what you came to me that you want to sponsor me? So how then do I have to spend $100,000 worth of fuel before I can get $100,000 worth of fuel for free? That's the reason why there's a budget for fuel. Then whoever went into that agreement has done Ghanaians a lot of disservice, because we'll not be sitting here and a brand or an entity will say, I want to sponsor Sports 101, but you will only get some money when you put out this amount of money. I mean, we didn't go out there seeking for the sponsorship. You came that you want to sponsor us. So for me, I think that whoever signed that agreement has done a lot of disservice to Ghanaians, because
there's some benefits that comes with it.
Which benefit
You're
is there?
getting equal amount free.
No, but then what's there? Then you are literally telling me I'm buying the fuel.
No, because if the Black Stars, let's say, are supposed to appear in camp 4 times in the calendar year,
Yep.
it means the amount you're supposed to spend on fuel, that 4 times, you end up spending just twice. And get 2 for free.
But you see, that's the thing. Over the years, how much have we spent on fuel?
The issue has to do with what the budget is and how we can account.
I'll get there. Over the years, no, there's actually some for me. There's a huge disparity here. Over the years, how much have we spent on fuel? I listened to Odro Safo where he makes reference to the fact that that $5,000 is not just for the 2 days that the bus commuted the team from the hotel to the training ground and from the training ground to the hotel. It's also meant for officials of the Black Stars, in terms of the FA officials, those around the team. They also take, as in that $5,000 that was budgeted, they would also benefit. Then the question is, how is this so? Because if MPs get fuel coupons from Gore, if the ministry, lots of people in the various ministries, they get fuel coupons. Fuel coupons is easy to get. And the minister himself said it, that there are certain things the ministry has an allocated budget for. They could easily give them out for free. And he made it clear in his statement that that's the reason why they slash it out, because if people around the national team need fuel, they could just budget, we need, let's say, 10,000, 50,000, 70,000 worth of fuel. The ministry can just give them coupon. You go to Gore, you get fuel for free. You do not have to budget for it. And over the years, and if you listen to the minister, over the years, when it passes through the ministry, and he said it that there is no allocated budget and the ministry for the Black Stars. So at the end of the year, when the finance minister budgets, let's say 2 million Ghana cedis for the sports ministry, they don't say out of that there is 100,000 for the Black Stars. No, every single money that is given to the Black Stars is given outside the budget of the sports ministry. So there's nothing like a standing budget for the Black Stars. That's why for me, I'm excited with this slash. There are a lot of things in here that he slashed. He cancelled bonuses for national team officials. We've always said that it doesn't make sense. Why would management team take winning bonuses? Where on earth does this happen? So the players play a game, they win 10,000 US dollars. Everybody gets it, including the management team. What have they been managing over the years? If you go to the national team, they just will have one person. If you go to the Spanish team, they just have one person with the team. Every national team, there's one person. But for Ghana, there are about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. They call them a management team. What have they been What have they been managing? We don't know. And so I'm excited. He cancelled that winning bonus for the team officials. Bonuses have been slashed from 10,000 to 5,000. What they call incidental expenses. A lot of people have raised qualms. What is incidental expenses?
Miscellaneous expenses.
60,000. He slashed it to 20,000. So for me, I'm excited. From 1 million to I think somewhere around 841,000. I think that it makes a lot of sense. And for once, he's been somebody I've come hard on. But I think that for once, this thing I agree with him. The only thing I disagree with is the timing, because right now we are not really talking about the team and the game. Our attention is on the budget. But for that, I'm excited with everything that the ministry has done. The slash, I wish he could have even slashed it more, but hey, it is what it is. I mean,
I don't think
half a loaf is better than none.
Any better time for this, because you have to present a budget for it to be approved or not. So if we talk about timing, they can't come out to make all these slashes if you don't present them a budget.
I'm not necessarily
a budget when there are games to.
I'm not necessarily talking about the slashing of the budget. I'm talking about the release of that statement or the meet the press. You could have slashed the budget. This thing could have gone under the radar, played the game, done everything that they need to do. When the 2 games are over, a week or 2, the ministry can just come and meet the press. This is how much we spent on the team.
It could have been a problem if the budget was rather increased, but this time around it was slashed. People are happy. So how does it affect the team next?
Still, here we are talking about the budget, and
since talking about it in a negative
sense, yes, but since it was released, I think it was done on Monday or something like that. Since Monday, almost every conversation across the various platforms has been about the budget. Hardly have I heard people talking about the game. Maybe you hear people talking about the game just today, even yesterday. Even this morning, on lots of these platforms, they were still talking about the budget and the intricacies of the budget. That's my only qualms. But apart from that, I think I'm excited with everything that the ministry has done in relation to the budget. My only problem is the timing. They could have done better.
Well, as I said, I don't have a problem with it. I think that at some point, the government mentioned, or the sports minister mentioned, that things were going to be transparent going forward. And so if they've started with this precedence, I really don't have any problem with it. Look, because at every point in time, there will always be issues to talk about.
That's true.
Whether it is positive, whether it is negative, there will always be issues to talk about. Maybe a lot of people are not talking so much about the game because it is Chad. With all due respect to them, maybe that's why. Maybe we are not paying so much attention because the Black Stars are top of the group and just need to keep on winning, and then you have automatic qualification to the World Cup. Maybe these are some of the reasons. If at some point when the Black Stars were struggling for the AFCON qualifier, we were mostly talking about tactics and then talking about points and then the coach and all of that. But now it seems like people are not talking about that. I don't know where Kofi stands on this, but I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the issues around the Black Stars. Are we trying to please the gallery? Or we have people who are leaders who have principles? because I think that by this singular action by the minister and whoever is involved, we are just trying to please the gallery. He looks like the minister is telling the whole world that he doesn't have any principles. He's just being reactionary.
Any principles? How?
On the 25th of March, 2025, I have a caption by 3 News, which reads boldly: Sports Minister Kofi Adams explains why Black Stars budget was not disclosed. And the chief among the reason was that people, this is a direct quote from me, people were asking me to disclose the budgets for the games, but I kept asking people, I kept asking myself what the budget will do for the team ahead of the games. Sometimes some situations create distractions, so we should weigh every situation before making a decision. Say, man.
So you get the point I was coming from.
I don't know.
You know, maybe
No,
we are looking
no,
at it
no,
in terms
so-
of
no,
what
so-
the issues were with
so-
the Black
so
Stars
the-
at the time.
no, so the
this
pop-
was
the-
about AFCON qualifiers.
So the point is, what has changed?
What has changed is, as I said, just maybe
What
now
has
the team
changed?
looks
If
more
he
stable.
felt 6 months ago that there was no need to disclose a budget, what has changed now?
6 months ago, there were so many negative issues around.
So the issue is that the minister per se does not have any principles.
No, but
He's just being absolutely reactionary.
But I think it's
Yes,
good
I
at that
mean,
time.
No,
that you are not being fair to
no.
He
And is it
actually
a
has
case?
principles,
And
that's why.
is I mean, so if you have principles, why didn't you show those principles from the outset?
Only a fool does not change his mind.
That's fine. So
No, I think it's probably about doing the right thing at the right
so you cannot fault those who think that the minister has no principles, but he's just being absolutely reactionary. He's just playing to the gallery.
No, you can't fault them, but
You cannot fault
actually,
those.
You can actually
then-
understand.
no,
where
then
he's
you
coming
cannot
from.
fault those who belong to that school of thought.
In March, we're talking about captaincy issues. In March, we're talking about
The Black
failing
Stars
to qualify
playing
for-
very
you see,
well.
Sammy,
The coaching
Sammy,
issues.
Sammy,
There were so many issues with the
Sammy,
Black Stars.
Sammy, you can try to gloss the images, but the point is simple. The issue that the minister spoke about was plain English. It had nothing to do with captaincy. It had everything to do with why he, under his supervision, decided not to disclose the budget. So you can try to gloss the images and all of that. But the issues and the core issues are that he decided 5-6 months ago that he was going to hide the budget.
Do you think at that time bringing out the budget would have hurt the team?
No, you see,
And do you think now it is hurting the team?
I absolutely think all of this is grand propaganda.
Against who?
I don't know why you keep interjecting, but
but
when
I
you were
think
speaking,
propaganda against
but
who?
when you were speaking, everybody else was quiet. I don't know
Against
why you
who?
keep interjecting. You understand? Because I do not think that this is so good for your images on video. You understand? I actually think all of this is grand propaganda
So you think it's
engineered by government to unusually win the sympathy of Ghanaians. And I cannot fault them. It's politics.
But looking at the figures, do you think it makes sense or it doesn't make sense?
What actually shows, as we sit here, that those were the figures that the FA presented.
If the FA didn't present those figures to the sports ministry, they could have come out to debunk it.
No, but the FA says it will come out. So nothing is cast in stone now. What actually shows that the figures were those were the figures presented by the FA.
Why would the sports ministry bring?
I am asking you. I know. I am asking you. What actually shows
would
that
you-
those
what
were
would you
the
be trying
figures?
to prove?
No. What is the truth?
I'm confused.
What is the truth? Why are you confused about? What is the truth that the FA presented those figures?
Trust me, if the ministry presented figures
No, you see,
outside of
no,
what the FA presented,
Sammy,
trust me,
Sammy,
the ministry,
Sammy,
the FA would
Sammy,
have quickly
Sammy,
released
Sammy,
the statement.
Sammy,
Come on, Kofi.
the FA has come out to say that they will address the issues.
And the issues
Why
primarily
is
was
it
on the
that-
fuel bit.
No,
That was what the FA said.
No,
It was on the fuel bit.
The FA did not issue a communique that they will just release a communique because of the
No,
values
but you
around
see,
it.
when
Can
you
I- can I
listen
land?
to
Can I
Ojo
land?
Safo,
Can
it
I
was on
land?
the fuel
Can I
bit.
please land? Ojo Safo is not the official mouthpiece of the FA. Please, if the FA wants to speak, they go through a certain channel.
He's an ESCO
You
member.
understand? The fact that you are an ESCO member granting interviews in your personal capacity does not mean you are speaking on behalf of all of the
He
FA.
knows more than
You
you and
understand?
I know.
The point is simple. And I still play by the principles. If you didn't believe that it was good to do Y couple of months ago, what has changed? You don't think playing against Chad and eventually the other opponents that we have to play on Monday,
Mali.
you don't think those are crucial
There's
fixtures?
something called reading the room and doing the right thing at the right time.
No, so reading the room, what have you found out?
That's the point I made earlier on. Could it possibly be that the Black Stars were not in the right position? People were upset. There were so many negativities.
No,
around
hold
the
on,
Black
hold
Stars.
on, hold on.
You wouldn't want
hold on,
to
That makes
on.
perfect sense.
Hold on.
more negativity
Hold on,
to
That makes a lot of sense.
Already a camp that is in
hold
its
on,
array.
hold on.
Now it
Hold
looks
on.
like things are a
Hold
little
There
on.
was player power
Sammy,
play. There were so
Sammy,
many things at
Sammy,
the time wrong
hold
with
on.
the team.
Sammy, hold on. Logically, would it not make sense that we achieve the grand scheme, or we achieve the major objective in the grand scheme? Look, you do not think that we will get so much leverage, or this government stands to get so much leverage, we qualifying for the World Cup?
You were one of those who criticized this.
No, hold on.
For not
Don't you
For not
think?
releasing
Don't-
it.
Don't you think?
during his,
No,
his
don't
initial press
don't
conference,
flip the
he
script.
mentioned that
Don't-
they will make things transparent.
Don't
When they
flip
didn't,
the
you
script.
chastised him.
No, he
now
does.
he's doing it.
No,
You have
And then
another
the
So
issue.
where lies the principles?
So
So you
that's what I'm
just
saying.
being
That it's only a
reactionary.
fool who doesn't change his
So
mind.
I am
He's
saying that there
fraudulent.
no. So I'm saying that there's, maybe you have not been listening to me. I'm saying that there are schools of thought out there which seeks to suggest that the minister is playing to the gallery.
What do you think?
I think so too. I think the minister is playing to the gallery.
6
What
months
end?
ago, was he playing to the gallery?
No, Lucky, I don't know why you want to do this, but maybe you have an interest. You understand? I don't know. But maybe you have an
So you
interest. You
think
understand?
that
So
it negatively?
well, I think it doesn't affect the team. Yes, these boys know exactly what is happening. And you know, there's a reason we label these boys as professionals. You are supposed to filter out all of the noise. You are supposed to leave and focus solely on the objectives of why it is that you are in camp. So I expect that if these boys are professionals, obviously, I mean, playing for the clubs that they play for, or I mean, some of them playing in England, I mean, they are used to all of these other reportages. So I do not think that it needs to affect the team. I do not think that it will affect the team. I do not think that the boys are worried about what Ghanaians think about their bonus. I have always held this opinion. At least let's not kid ourselves. These boys are mercenaries. We have hired them to do a job. And if they are doing the job, whatever it is that rightly needs to be their portion, we should apportion it to them. You understand? I have heard old people who have played for the Black Stars, not gotten anything playing for the Black Stars. So if somebody is playing for the Black Stars today, I do not have a problem if he wants to charge X or Y or Z playing for the Black Stars, because it is a mutual relationship. I don't have a problem with that. So I do not get why it is that if there are issues like this, you cannot sort it out in the room privately as adults or as two consenting parties and then want to play to the gallery. What do you seek to achieve?
But if they had that conversation,
Pitch the
obviously
media-
it will still come out. because
Pitch the
you
media
know
or the
how much
Ghanaian people
these players-
against the Black Stars players and the FA?
But
Is that the point?
Nobody has
Is that the
complained
point?
about the players. Nobody has complained having the bonuses. A lot of people they don't have issues. The issue people have is with Out
No,
of this
see,
budget,
Sammy,
the
Sammy,
issue people
Sammy,
have
Sammy,
is the fuel.
We've all seen the figures.
Yes.
For example, I'll quote you one figure.
Yeah.
Probably you are not privy to. The coach was supposed to take a winning bonus of $20,000.
$20,000.
It's been slashed to $10,000.
Yes, and he explained.
Hold on. The players sin.
Yeah.
You understand? So you think that when the Black Stars management team or the people who ran the FA were pitching these figures together, the inputs of the players were not taken into consideration?
Obviously, it was.
So I am saying that why do you seek to pitch the Ghanaians against the Black Stars players and the management of the FA?
Can I get a minute on
I am
this?
not done.
I think that
Let's Kofi
Yeah.
and then you have it.
Maybe if he wants to speak, he has an interest. Maybe he can speak. Yeah.
whatever,
fine.
whether I do have an interest, I think that Kofi is not being fair. Again, like I said, the minister made it clear that there is no clear-cut budget for the Black Stars. So when the ministry is giving a budget at the end of maybe at the start of the year, or the mid-year budget is presented, whatever they do, if the ministry is allocated 40 million Ghana cedis, they don't say out of the 40, there's some 10 million Ghana cedis be there for the national team. So no. And so whatever budget you present, the onus lies on the ministry to ensure, can we afford? Because it is a budget. And nobody makes a budget then tries to reduce the money. You presented a $10,000 budget. The ministry is saying that no, we cannot afford 10,000. We can afford 5,000.
It's
How bad
lucky
is that?
telling the whole of the viewing public that when the budget was being drawn, they did not take into cognizance the fact that we had World Cup qualification matches and then it wasn't going to be played in void. Is that what Lucky is telling the whole world?
That is what they
hold on.
Budget that they present, they do not factor in the issue of the national teams will get this, will get that.
That's clear.
You and I have been around for a long time for these cat and mouse stories.
How is this a cat and mouse story?
We are playing World Cup qualifying matches in a World Cup year.
How is this a cat and
How
mouse
can
story?
you tell me the story that you do not know that the Black Stars are going to expend XY amount based on trend analysis?
So in essence, you think that what should have been published should have just been the approved budget.
Exactly.
You shouldn't have seen what
We don't need all of this drama in the media. We don't need all of this drama.
No, but what he's saying is we shouldn't have seen the budget that the FA presented.
Yes.
How is that possible? The minister is telling you that this is what the FA
Whose
gave you.
interest does it say?
What makes you think that whose interest does it
does
say?
it
we
say?
are pitching them against.
You are not pitching them against Ghanaians.
Whose
You know
interest
why?
does it say?
You know why? Again,
If it's not populist, whose interest does it say?
This is an estimate. We are taking $841,200 US dollars to Chad. That is the approved budget. But the minister is telling you, what the minister is saying is that, well, before we approve this budget, this was how much was budgeted. There is nothing wrong. Sammy, you've been in financial meetings. We've all been in financial meetings. This is how much was presented by this department, and this is how much we've decided, or we can afford. What is this?
Lucky is still not getting.
No, what is this issue of there is no need? Let me
preach simplicity.
No, the president promised. What did the president promise? He promised what? And transparency. How then do you fulfill that transparency?
In March.
How then? That's what I'm saying. That maybe that argument makes a lot of sense when when Kofi raises that argument. It makes a lot of sense. Like I have said when I started my initial summit, what did I say? I said that no, I think that the timing was wrong, and I agree with Kofi on that bit. But again, I subtly said it's okay to change your mind. It's only a fool that has not changed his mind. Maybe 6 months ago, he felt that if we did it this way, it would have been a problem.
6 months ago, he was not transparent.
Now, 6 months down the line, he feels that no, on hindsight or sitting behind the scenes, I realized that no, I messed up 6 months ago. Let me do the right thing, because the president gave a directive. that we are going to be transparent. Every single dime that goes into the national teams, not just the Black Stars, we will make it public to the Ghanaian people whose money we are using to fund these boys. And so if the FA presents a budget of $1 million plus, why shouldn't he tell Ghanaians that this is what the FA gave us and this is what we as an FA, the ministry obviously in slashing down this budget sat down with the FA. They didn't do this, what is it called, behind closed doors. They sat down with the FA. I might be sure that probably the captaincy or whoever representation from the players was probably there. Oh, guys, we don't think that this is Chad. So you, for Chad and the nature of the game, instead of 10,000, let's bring it to 5,000. There would probably have been a general consensus before this budget would be approved. Now he's telling you that now it's 841,200 from the usual 1 million plus. What is wrong with that? I mean, I don't see any problem in making the two budgets public. Maybe subtly behind the scenes there is something like an agenda, but whatever it is, he has done the right thing. One, he has fulfilled the president's promise. 6 months down the line, Kofi had issues with he not disclosing it. Now he goes out to disclose it. We are raising.
Can I just probably try to break down the issue simply? Whose interest does it serve if the minister does not want to be discreet about the figures that have been presented and then goes on to show all of those figures? I mean, what interest does it serve? If you're not being populist, whose interest does it really serve? I'm asking. I mean, whose interest does it really serve? Are we saying that if we want to be transparent, we cannot be discreet? Is that the point you are making? I think that, come on, I mean, let's get off the high horses. You understand? I think that totally needless, totally uncalled for, populist, propagandist, and serves no interest. I mean, come on, showing the budget that the FA saved, and then showing your approved budget, whose interest does it really serve?
Does this disclosure, does it highlight wastefulness by the GFA?
Has he come out to tell us what was spent in March?
No, he hasn't.
So everybody gets off your high horses.
But if this is the budget that is presented,
what was budgeted for in March?
Originally, we know
how much did we spend in March?
There was a certain amount of money that these officials were getting, the bonuses and some of these things that were splashed, the winning bonus for officials and all of that. Does it highlight wastefulness, as I said earlier?
How much was spent in March?
The 10,000 that was slashed to 5,000, for example.
So what was the rate in March?
We don't know what that estimate was.
Then we cannot have that conversation.
But in March, nothing was disclosed.
In March,
now we are talking about
in March, was there wastefulness?
Again, that hasn't been disclosed.
So what are we talking about?
But I mean, if what this budget, is speaking to, then clearly it highlights wastefulness.
If they can actually go ahead with the approved budget, then it means that they can actually work with this lesser.
Let me make this point. Let me make this point. And you know my stance on Kurt Okraku. I'm not defending anybody. You know my stance on Kurt Okraku publicly. The GFA has never and will never be a spending authority. Sami, let me repeat it again. The GFA has and will never be a spending authority. The GFA on its own cannot spend 1 cedi of the public purse. You know who approves it?
The sports ministry.
Exactly. So if there has been wastefulness, you cannot point fingers at the GFA.
Who is pointing fingers at the GFA?
No, hold on.
I think he makes a brilliant
No,
point.
hold on.
Because if
nobody
money is
exactly who approved those budgets?
That's why if you listen to the sports,
I don't know why.
Clearly that
I do not know. I do not know why.
He was. He says previous administration have not
we are
helped.
Exactly the point. Exactly the point. So it comes back to the whole circle. What was the need of presenting what it is that the FPR presented today, ministry?
Transparency.
Come on.
Because people are not upset. People are actually excited.
No. Populism.
That's
Populism.
That's his opinion, though.
Populism.
Is he wrong?
Cheap political points. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it.
But to the game proper, it's at 1 p.m. and let's get into the tactical bits of the game. Coach
Otuado, what tactics? What tactics?
Artificial pitch and the pitch being hard, and then the guys will struggle to play on this pitch. Is he already preparing our minds for something we might not like, or we are good to go?
I've always said I don't like Coach Otuado. He's not a good coach. I've said it time and time again. The Black Stars is not a learning platform. You don't learn on the job with national teams. That's why the rate at which national teams fail and fall is so high and so quick compared to club sides.
They're top of the table.
They're top of the table against. And listen, if the Black Stars were not in the situation they were 6, 8, 7 months, a year ago, who would complain about being in a group with Mali, Madagascar, Comoros, Chad, Central African Republic? Who? Sammy, if the Black Stars have not fallen into the abyss of football like they have fallen now, who would
fall under Otuado?
I'm coming. But you see, under Otuado's reign, genuinely, we failed to qualify for the AFCON in a group that had how many, do you know the teams we failed to qualify against? You know the teams we failed to qualify against, right? And so for me, I've always said, my stance on Otuado. I personally feel that, listen, if you are bringing in somebody to handle the national team, it should be an A-lister, because one, you don't have a lot of time to perfect your tactics. The best you can meet and train is just 2 weeks. You play international games, you go off. So you need somebody who is so good and can communicate whatever he intends to do in the shortest possible time. I don't think. Now, did you see the pitch we played on in Kumasi against Angola?
Yeah.
You saw that pitch, right? Sammy, we on at the other side. You saw that pitch. It was more like in Ghana or in the Ghanaian, we say Mbosabo. That was the pitch we played in.
So you shouldn't complain.
So you shouldn't complain, because I've seen the pitch. I've seen videos of the pitch. I've seen Chad training on the pitch. He talks about, it's hard and it's concrete. Obviously, it needs to be concreted before they lay on. I don't know what he saw or whatever, but that pitch is better than what we played on in Kumasi.
An artificial pitch.
That pitch, relatively, is better than what we played on in Kumasi. FIFA approves artificial pitches and normal grass pitches. So playing on that artificial turf there's nothing bad with it. And he shouldn't complain, because he never complained about the pitch in Kumasi, even in Accra. How terrible our pitches are. Again,
No, but they've actually
he should go into the game.
The players have complained.
I pray. As for the players, they have every right to complain, because in Kumasi the players complain. I'm talking about the team officials. They never complain about how terrible the pitches were in Kumasi. They should go into this game with one thing in mind. This is a team in 22 games. They've not won a single game or drawn even a single game. This is a team that has not won a single game in the group. They are the whipping boys in the group. They don't have any pedigree in world football. See, the Black Stars can fall to any level. If we are playing Chad or this game this afternoon, there is no excuse not to win this game.
The same thing we said against Madagascar.
That is the point. It tells you that if you cannot do a good job against the West of the West, then you yourself, you are not good enough. I don't think he's going to map up any excellent tactics, but he's not a Pep Guardiola, he's not an Ancelotti, he's not a Jose Mourinho, he's not an Ancelotti, he's not those managers who are so enshrined in their tactics that he would want to move the pieces on the chessboard just to outwit their opponent. You are playing against Chad. No disrespect to Chad, but disrespect to them. They are the worst team in the group, and they are one of the worst teams in the world.
So if we shouldn't be talking tactics, then we should take the manager aside, and the issue should be about the players pushing up a performance.
That's it.
From what you're saying, obviously they don't need coaching.
Against Chad, you don't need a manager to win against Chad. Kofi made mention of these are professionals. You don't need a coach. See, we've seen games where coaches have been sent to the dugout, where they don't have to necessarily communicate to their players. But if you have Kudus, you have Semenyo, who is on fire, you have all these boys who most of them have played in the Premier League, in other leagues have played arguably or relatively at higher levels of football. They are coming up against a Chadian side, 22 games, not even a single draw or win. In the group, they've not won even a single match. Every team that has gone to Chad has beaten them. Only the Black Stars will go there and pick a point or lose. Come on, then they will have no case against Ghanaians. Maybe the good thing is that I think we'll top the group, we'll qualify straight ahead, because that game against Mali, we should be able to beat Mali. And we'll find our way around.
Mali plays Comoros. Ghana still has to play Comoros.
Yeah, Mali.
We lost against Comoros.
Mali is playing Comoros at home, and it's going to be a very tricky game. If Comoros win, they also end up on 15 points. So Comoros are like our biggest threat because they are second in second place.
I don't think so. I think Mali will beat Comoros, and
well, that's another conversation.
The game against Mali.
We can't afford to even drop points against Chad.
What's your prediction for the game
against Chad?
Yes,
over 2.5.
Yeah, the Black Stars winning.
Yeah, we should be able to beat them nothing less than 2 goals.
Kofi, is it about tactics? Is it about just going there to do a job?
Well, I've listened to the disrespect being meted out to Otto Addo. I think it's quite unfortunate. And then I've listened to my friend, who I do not know has kicked the ball before, questioning the judgment of Otto Addo on what he deems a bit not suitable or otherwise. I think that the level of disrespect is quite disparaging. And for me, we can have our opinions, but you do not disrespect the man in the manner.
How is that disrespect? All I said is
he's learning on the job.
He has no right to complain about the pitch when he played on a far west pitch. How is that disrespect?
You do not sit here and tell me that any coach can qualify a nation to a World Cup, especially when he had to do it against Nigeria in Nigeria.
Good. That playlist.
Sammy, you don't tell me that any coach would qualify a nation to a World Cup when he had to beat or get a result against Nigeria in Nigeria, got the result against Nigeria in Nigeria, and then qualified your nation to the World Cup. You don't sit here and
but other teams have got results against Nigeria.
You do not sit here and met out those disrespectful comments.
Sierra Leone recently beat Nigeria in Nigeria.
I will move beyond the shenanigans. I will clearly move beyond the shenanigans and then address the issues. The issues are pretty much simple. Without any sort of disrespect to Lucky, who gives a hoot about not qualifying to the AFCON? Who gives a hoot about that?
It's not a big deal. I think it's a big deal.
Which would you prefer?
If we say we are a powerhouse in African football,
which would you prefer, the World Cup or the AFCON?
Both. There's no picking. There's no picking.
Ground. You have to be there.
When you have to pick one,
you know, there's no picking.
You prefer?
We have to where we are, we have to be at the AFCON.
Don't be swayed by the noise.
No, we have to be at the AFCON.
Which would you prefer? Going to the World Cup or going to... Who cares about the AFCON?
If you are that good, you shouldn't even be in a position to have to pick between the AFCON
to be at the
Let
AFCON.
me answer a simple
It is a must.
Let me ask you a simple question. Are Nigerians excited qualifying to the AFCON vis-a-vis qualifying to the World Cup?
I don't care what Nigerians think.
Are they excited?
Do I care what Nigerians think?
No, you can't say you don't care what Nigerians think.
No, but why would I think about what Nigerians think about their national team when I am concerned about what Ghanaians think about my national team?
No, I think the point Kofi is making is if you have to, for example, Nigerians are going to the AFCON, right?
Yes.
They would rather be at the World Cup. But as it stands now, everybody expects Nigeria to be at the AFCON. If Nigeria do not make the World Cup,
It's a big deal.
It's not necessarily that much of a
So
big deal.
everybody expects
than if Nigeria do not make the AFCON.
So everybody expects us to be at the AFCON.
Yes.
But we are not
But
at the AFCON.
we don't go to the World Cup.
But hold on,
It is
hold
not
on.
necessarily
Hold
a
on.
big deal.
Everybody
Big deal.
expects us to be at the AFCON. We are not going to the AFCON. But everybody does not expect us to go to the World Cup. We are going to the World Cup.
Fine.
Is that the point?
Football is not mathematics.
No,
I
hold
say it
on,
all
hold
the
on.
time.
Sammy, I don't know why you're trying to be a professor.
No,
Professor
but there are
Mathematics.
certain things
The point
that
is simple.
we need to look at it
The
logically.
point is simple. Going to the World Cup offers all the prestige and premium that you can ever have in football.
Fine. But what's I'm
So
saying?
I am saying that putting those two on the weighing scale, who gives a hoot about not qualifying?
So why play the qualifiers
Why
in the
play
first
the
place?
exactly?
Because you have to play. The point is that we are comfortably sitting on top of the group, on the verge of qualifying to the World Cup with Otoado.
No, you're not comfortable because you only in the 3 points.
I will repeat it again. We are comfortably sitting on top. Maybe you did not hear what I said. I'll repeat it again.
We are
For emphasis,
comfortably
we are
sitting- we just
comfortably
feel maximum
sitting
points
on
about
top
3
of the
games to
group.
play.
We'll beat Chad today.
What's for Chad? Sammy, that's what
We are comfortably sitting on top of the group, on the verge of qualifying for the World Cup with Coach Otoado.
So why
can't
didn't
afford
the
to be
Black
sharp.
Stars qualify for AFCON with Otoado?
Priorities.
What's that?
So you think you said that I'm finding serious?
Priority.
We intentionally didn't take it serious.
Priorities. So I think that.
I am traumatized. I am traumatized.
Oh, you will not be.
I am traumatized.
You are
You will not be.
depressed.
You will not.
You are
be
making me.
traumatized.
I'm suffering symptoms of ADHD.
Yes,
because
No.
of your
The point is simple. The point is simple. You will be fine. You will be
we
cured.
we didn't.
You will be cured. You will be cured of
We didn't
all
want
the
to go to
malaise.
AFCON.
You will be
So we
cured.
intentionally
You will be
decided not to
cured
qualify.
of all the malaise when we
You know,
make the
you know
World
he's
Cup.
an apostle.
I understand.
No,
He's an apostle.
You are messing with my mental.
No,
He's an
no.
apostle of Otuado.
You know-
He has always said
No, you
that
see, the
Otuado
point-
is a
the-
tactical brain. He's a he's the
point
best
is
coach
simple.
we've had
The
in
point is
God
simple.
knows how many
The
years.
point is simple. I do not think that we have any coach better in the caliber of
Otuado,
Otuado
yes.
to handle the project we are on now.
That has been his stance.
Yes,
He
I
loves
mean,
Otuado.
for somebody who developed and nurtured Ellen Haaland. Come on, I mean, you have all these small boys in your team. You want to bring who?
It's in his CV that he developed and
You want
nurtured
to bring
Elmo.
who? You want to bring who? You have all these small boys on your team. You want to bring who?
Sammy.
Somebody that Haaland pays a lot of homage to.
Something like that.
You understand?
This game against
Come
Chad,
on.
we can't. You see, there's no middle ground.
Can I just finish?
If Otuado beats Chad, what has he done?
No, Otuado does not need to prove anything beating Chad. He's beating better opponents in our quest to being on top of the group. He's beating better opponents.
He's lost against the worst opponent.
He's gotten results against some of the top teams in that group.
Was he
You
not the
understand?
manager in charge when we played the worst ever AFCON we've ever played? Was he not the man in charge?
You remember Madagascar?
Was he not the man in charge?
I think to focus on the Chad game, we are going to beat Chad. We'll wait for Mali in Ghana. And I think that we'll get results against
Or they'll
Mali.
beat Mali.
If we get those
If
two
Mali
results,
teams are
we are as good as being in the World Cup.
True.
Yes. And then we'll wait for the naysayers. We'll get those two results and wait for the naysayers.
So it's about Otuado proving a point to you.
We will beat those two teams and wait for the naysayers.
And Sammy,
They will always have a script.
Sammy, you've always.
But
you've
I am
rightly put it.
saying
It's about
that I
proving a
am
point.
saying that we'll beat Chad, we'll beat Mali, and then wait for what theory they pop up with this time.
Nobody will pop any theory up, Sammy. You have to beat Chad. That's why I'm saying that this game, this afternoon, in barely about an hour, there is no middle ground. You are playing the worst team in the group. You are playing a team that is considered one of the worst teams in Africa, if not the world. Sammy, even if the Black Stars are in their worst terrible state, we cannot afford to even pick a point at what is it called? Chad. We have to beat them.
Well, the Black Stars are about 100 places ahead of Chad in the FIFA ranking. So
Look at that.
it's expected that the Black Stars go away from home and get 3 maximum points. Football nowadays, there are no whipping boys. Everybody knows how to play the game.
Chad
So,
is a whipping
but yes, for the Panthers, it's It's easy to go Black Stars. If I were you, I would go handicap 4-0 for Chad. It's actually some good odds there. So you can consider that. But remember, this is Sports 101, and you can like, comment, share. Let's know what you think about everything that we've discussed concerning the Black Stars budget, the coach, the game, the AFCON qualifiers. If you are watching us from every other part of the world, maybe some other African countries, let's know about what you think about your team qualifying to the World Cup. Nigeria are in danger of missing out on the World Cup. They can qualify via the playoffs, but I don't think that the Super Eagles and Nigerians would be willing to go through that route. South Africa are doing something really, really well in that group. And so let's see how it plays out. Remember, you can also follow or join FPL on Sports 101. So the Sports 101 Fantasy Premier League, the code is on the screen, and you can join. It's not too late to start, and you stand a chance of winning about 3,000 Ghana cedis at the end of the season. And so let's have fun together on Sports 101. You can follow us on TikTok as well as Facebook and YouTube. Guys, let me run by some of the fixtures that will be playing out on the African scene. There is Guinea-Bissau home to Sierra Leone. There's Angola against Libya. Mauritius playing Cape Verde. Cameroon against Eswatini. There's Algeria playing at home to Botswana. Sao Tome and Principe home to Equatorial Guinea. Tunisia against Liberia. Chad against Ghana. Madagascar against Central African Republic. And then there's also Mali against Comoros. That's for Friday. That's today. Tomorrow there are some other interesting games, and over the weekend there are lots of exciting games across the world. In Europe there are some interesting games. Spain are in action. There's Germany going away to Slovakia as well. There's Turkey against Georgia. Spain, yes, against Bulgaria. There's Netherlands playing home to Poland this afternoon. There's Kazakhstan against Wales. There's Liechtenstein against Belgium. And so over the weekend there are still some other interesting games. I think England is coming up against Andorra. Some of these other big teams. Portugal also kickstarts their World Cup campaign as well. And so lots of games to look forward to in the next 10 days of international break before we get back into club football. And talking about club football, let's talk about the just concluded transfer window. There's something that we've learned from the just ended transfer window. Yes, in Saudi Arabia and Turkey, the window is still open, but it's the issue about player power. There's a certain trend that we are seeing in football. We've seen that from Alexander Isak. We've seen Johan Weiser. Jadon Sancho, I will put him in that category because he had options. We've seen Alejandro Garnacho. When players decide to force moves to clubs that they want to play for while still under contract, yes, some of them have talked about the fact that there were verbal agreements, there were written agreements. We don't necessarily know all the details about their contracts. But on the other hand, there's also Mark Gay, who decided to be the gentleman. He started the season with Crystal Palace, and at the end of the transfer window, he didn't get the move he was looking for to Liverpool. His colleague, Eberechi Eze, same. He was lucky enough to get his move to Arsenal. Are these players justified by being that stubborn and refusing to train and forcing their moves to the clubs that they want to move to? Is there any justification for that? Because if they don't go in that direction, if they don't play that stubborn card, their parent clubs probably will not grant the moves that they are looking for. What's your take on all of this?
I think that the scenarios that you've highlighted, it shows that I do not think that we can overly say that there's a surge in player power, because you mentioned various scenarios. Yeah. You mentioned the Goei situation, you mentioned the Eze situations. They played by the rules, yes, and then eventually were gentlemen enough to let their clubs have the final
final
say
say, yes.
in whichever it is. I think that it will always be the case. You understand? I mean, because for every Eze and Gray, we can mention an Isaac and Wisa. You understand?
There's
right?
also a Gokeres as well.
Exactly. And so I think that I do not believe there is player power. I think it all boils down to what it is the situation is and what the club are looking at.
Would Isaac have got that Liverpool move if he didn't behave the manner in which he did?
Well, I don't think Newcastle let him go because he behaved in that manner. I don't think so. I don't think Newcastle let him go because he behaved in that manner. I think that Newcastle let him go because, one, they found two replacements. You understand? And that has been their stance from day one. Even though, yes, you can argue that they didn't get who it was they were exactly looking for. They had targets in their mind. But eventually, they found two replacements. You understand? And it was clear that if you were going to keep an unhappy player, but you found a solution, you've gotten the money, you've reinvested into the squad. I mean, why not cut ties with the player and then go? You understand? I don't think that they let him go primarily because of the decision by Issa to go out all gun blazing in the manner that he did. You understand? I think that for me, player power is an illusion. For me, it's an illusion. It exists in the minds of people, but I do not think that if Newcastle wanted to stretch the issue, they couldn't have. Newcastle could have decided that they hold the bigger odds when it comes to the whole issue about Alexander Isak and then his proposed move to Liverpool, because the player had a 3-year contract with them. You understand? They would have decided that, listen, we'll do you the Saido Berahino way. The Saido Berahino way with West Brom. Eventually, you train with the under-21s and the under-18s. It's a World Cup year. You get to suffer. We don't suffer. We can pay you. We are Newcastle United. We don't need the 150 million euros from Liverpool. They are the richest club in the world. So I think that, yes, it might have tilted the scales in his favor. You understand? And then probably might have let the club look for a replacement quicker. But I don't think the singular act of him deciding to act in the manner he did. I mean, all of the scenarios you have pointed shows that there are players with sane heads around. I think, and for me, it's a terrible example to give all these kids out there wanting to be professionals, to be an Isak, to be a Wisa. Terrible example.
Maybe if Gay had handed in a transfer request, he could have got his move.
Gay can play for Real Madrid.
Being a gentleman has cost him his transfer to Liverpool.
No. I mean, first of all, the fact that he's a professional footballer playing at the highest level of his craft and representing England is enough an achievement. I don't want to say he's a son of a preacher man, so he acted in a sensible manner. I think that he acted in the most sensible manner because he was brought up from a good home. Son of a preacher man. You understand? But I think that, listen, in January, there will be a plethora of clubs, elite clubs, lining up for the signature of Gueye. In May, when the season is over, there will be top clubs from across the world, not just Liverpool. Maybe, you see, and Liverpool will be handicapped when the situation comes that way, because then you will not be the only person vying for the free transfer of Gueye.
Yeah.
There could be other top clubs coming after his signature. So I don't think that sitting here is really a loss for the gentleman. No, I don't think it's a loss for the gentleman. The guy is an automatic starter in the English national team. Is the captain for Crystal Palace. Has conducted himself very well, and the ceiling is up there for him as to where he could play for eventually. So I don't think that the fact that he acted gentlemanly or ungentlemanly, I think that it boils down to morals. I think that it boils down to your upbringing. I think that it boils down eventually to what it is that you want or your ideals. You understand? I don't think there's anything like player power, honestly.
You know, I hardly agree with Kofi, but on this issue, listen, I 100% agree with him. It's coming from a colleague of his, Victor Gokores, who himself acted, similarly. He made this quote when they were in camp. The Swedish team was in camp, where he said that when it's a player that's not wanted in that club, I think it's totally opposite. He doesn't have any power, and the club can literally do whatever they want. The club can literally do whatever they want because you are under contract. Mm-hmm. And like if you went there, the examples that Isak and Gokores have set is a terrible advice or picture to paint for the young players coming out there, because exactly Kofi went there as well. If Liverpool wanted to play, if Newcastle wanted to play hardball, Sammy, Isak would not have anything to say. One, he doesn't have a release clause that can be triggered by a certain club or by the player himself meeting those releases. He doesn't have a buyout clause that the club wanting to buy you can buy you out, or you yourself can buy yourself out. You are under contract. The club decides the rate at which they price you for, the circumstances under which they will sell you. And so what he did for me is a terrible example. And Liverpool fans who are excited, like in Ghanaian parlance, they say about what teaching what better than what
no the chamber.
Don't think that what he has done to you, he cannot do it to, and what he has done to Newcastle, he cannot do it to you. Because I can say for a fact that imagine if Real Madrid in a year or two time, Real Madrid come calling with big money, with everything Real Madrid is in club football. He decides, I'm not going to play for you again. I'm not going to train with you again. He was under a 3-year contract, obliged to train. Newcastle could have decided that we are not going to sell you. And they would have taken this guy to the court of arbitration and would have paid hugely. If there's anything Newcastle could have done, they've done this boy a lot of good. He should be grateful. Because one, you are under contract. You have decided you will not train. They could easily take him on. And he'll be even fined or banned by FIFA from playing any kind of football if he doesn't know. And so there's nothing like player power when it comes to football, unless one, you play in Spain, you play in Italy or Germany, or in your contract, there's either a buyout clause, a release clause. And if, let's say, those buyout clause or release clauses or certain clauses are triggered, and the club decides that we are not going to sell you, even when these clauses have been triggered. But herein, there was no clause like that.
You're strictly dealing with transfer fees.
You're strictly dealing with transfer fees.
And just to add, I'm told that in his improved contract that he signed recently, there was a no release clause.
Yes.
You understand?
According to him, when he released that statement, he mentioned that there were verbal
agreements.
No.
He should forget it.
That was being Kofi Adams.
And you see, even if there were verbal agreements, it was with the former administrators.
Exactly.
These are new people who have come in. We've gone into a new negotiation. We'll put it on paper. Then you refer me to a discussion you had with my former, colleagues. No, it doesn't work that way. So for me, I don't think there's any thing like power play when it comes to the players. The players do not have any control. Like I said, the only time they have control is when there are buyout clause and release clause, certain clauses documented down. That's when you have a lot of control or you have a lot of power. But not when it's strictly dealing with buying and selling. And Kofi rightly said, listen, come next summer, Guehi's stocks would have risen to, it was worth around £40 million. I can tell you that Crystal Palace would benefit hugely from what the boy has done. They can sell Guehi for 70-80 million, and top clubs will come back for his signature because he's shown that he's very professional. He was training with the club. He didn't come out to release any statement. He went about doing his job excellently, like Eze. Before Eze moved to Arsenal, he played for Crystal Palace against Chelsea. He even scored a goal which was disallowed. These are professionals. And I respect them for what they did. For me, they've earned some respect around the globe that a lot of people may not have known about them. And so for the likes of Gyökeres, he was also not training with the club because he wanted a move to Arsenal. So I don't fault him. He's not even a good player. We've seen it. Very one-dimensional. He's not even good. Arsenal will regret buying that boy. He's not good.
Are you speaking from a point of pain?
No, I mean, he's not. I'm not a fan of Arsenal. I'm not a fan of Gyökeres. So, but we've seen him very one-dimensional. He doesn't even know how to dribble to save his life. He's good at just facing the pool and putting the ball at the back of the net.
That's his job.
Yes, fine, but like Kofi always says, yeah. But the point is, listen, I don't think there's any power play when it comes to or power is shifting to the players or anything. Trust me, unless you play in Spain or in Germany where they deal with release clauses and buyout clauses, in England where it's all about the transfer fees, the players don't have a say. And let any other player try it and see what will happen, especially if you're under a 3-year contract like Isak was. That's what I'm saying, that Isak should thank his stars. And like Kofi has rightly said, listen, the team has all the time, they were ready to let him go. Because they were, if you get a replacement for you in Ekitike, we'll sell you. They tried Ekitike, they didn't get. They tried other players, they didn't get until they landed on Stuttgart, as a Waterman or something like that. They've gotten him, they've sold him, they've made a lot of money, 130 million pounds. That's the highest transfer fee in the record of the history of the Premier League. So for me, Newcastle even did him a disservice because Newcastle could have easily taken him to the court of arbitration that he is under contract and is refusing to play.
Well, Gehi has an opportunity to market himself at the World Cup. So it looks like he'll be a free agent at the time.
Oh wow! Then
I need to confirm that. But
he'll be a free agent. You'll be a free agent unless he renews the contract with Crystal Palace, which doesn't look likely. You understand? So he'll be a free agent, certified free agent in the summer.
And he has a World Cup to
and he's
market
one of the
himself.
best defenders in the Premier League.
So he's an England international as well. So, but when it comes to player power, this is just one aspect of it. The other aspect has to do with tactics and then coaches and playing to your coach's tactics. And when the players decide they want to gang up against the coach because we don't like him anymore, that's another aspect of player power that I'm sure we'll get into that conversation maybe in subsequent episodes, because this has to do with player power when it comes to when it comes to transfers. And so we'll get into that other aspect during subsequent episodes. But quickly, before we wrap up, still on the transfers, we've seen certain moves from Ghanaian players. Thomas Partey made that move to Villarreal at the start of the transfer market. I was one that said if he were to be my relative, I would advise him to make that move to Saudi Arabia. There's the school of thought that says that the Saudis are very strict on discipline and morality. So the moment there are certain topics around you, they frown on it, whether you're guilty, whether you're innocent. And some are also saying that, well, he could have accepted the Arsenal deal. He was asking for an increased wage. Maybe if he had accepted it, it would have been better for him, because that the whole court issue came just immediately his contract ended with Arsenal, and now he's had to settle for less at Villarreal. Maybe he could have earned more at Saudi Arabia. He could have earned more at Arsenal, but he's at Villarreal now. Some are also saying that he's actually very lucky that a team like Villarreal have come to his rescue, because when you have these allegations against you as a professional footballer, it is very, very damning. But we've seen him in camp at Villarreal, we've seen him in camp at the Black Stars, and I think he's somebody that is mentally tough. He's handled it very brilliantly. He's put up good performances. We've seen how calm he is. But the point here is there were talks about Antoine Semenyo to United, to Liverpool. He ended up staying at Bournemouth. We saw Mohamed Kudus. And I remember some time ago, I mentioned that if Kudus doesn't make that move this transfer window, he will hurt his career, because West Ham United would be in a worse position than they are at this moment by the end of the season. They haven't started the season well. So now would be the best time for him to get that move, especially in a World Cup year. and he moved to Spurs for big money. Now, if you take Kudus out, you take Partey, we've talked about Semenyo. Jordan Ayew now is playing in the Championship. Yes, we know because of his age and all of that. Abdul Fattah Isahaku is also there. He suffered an injury and he's picking up form. But you look around the Ghana Black Stars, we've heard about Jiku going to sign in Russia. What is Spartak Moscow?
Yes,
It's Spartak, it's not CSK. Yeah. He had offers from Fiorentina and the likes. So you look at the Black Stars and you ask yourself, why are the players not getting big money moves? What is it with our players that when it comes to the transfer window, we don't necessarily hear them being rumored around big clubs? Is it about agents? Is it about quality?
It has nothing to do with agents. Our players are not good enough. We don't have good players. You see, it's high time we started singing this song or ringing the bell so that it would consistently.
We're making the move to United. Onana is still at United.
No, Antoine Semenyo is
United.
Not a United player. He's
Nicholas
not a United
Jackson is at Bayern Munich.
Let's not sprinkle some, stardust.
Is he not as good as Mbeumo?
Let's not sprinkle. No, he's not.
He's not as good as Mbeumo.
He's not. How many goals did he score for Bournemouth? How many goals did he score for Bournemouth? Do you know how many goals Mbeumo scored for Brentford? 20 league goals. 20. That's 3 shy of Isak. 20 league goals. Let's not kid ourselves. Semenyo is let's not sprinkle some stardust on the player and make him look like all of a sudden Antoine Semenyo is a star. He's not. He's not even close to the level of Asamoah Gyan. He's good, but he's not on that level. So those who were pushing the agenda, United never wanted Semenyo. United were never looking in the area of Semenyo. The truth is, we do not have good players. And Kofi has said that. He even goes to the point of saying that the Kudus hype is too much. Can you say Jiku is on the level of Osei?
Maybe he hasn't had the opportunity to play.
It's not about he hasn't had the opportunity. You see, our players are not good enough. You see, there were times you had Samuel Osei, and he wasn't just playing for Bayern. He was one of Bayern's best players, and in Germany, he was one of the best defenders in Bayern. They hail him as one of their legends. We've seen players who, and when the transfers market opens, we know that these Ghanaian players will be talked about. Michael Essien, season in season at Chelsea, he was being linked with some of the best teams in the world. Sulalem Muntari, even at the time he was playing for Portsmouth, he earned a move to Inter Milan, AC Milan. And at the time, AC Milan were playing consistently in the Champions League.
Because even our PC wingers and the players that we call dangerous,
who are they?
Joseph Pintel and Osman Bukari, they are all in the MLS.
Yeah, because they're not good enough. This your Fattah Isahaku, he's only good for the Champions League, the Championship. He's not good enough.
You think last season, if he was fit for Leicester, he wouldn't have found the Premier League?
When he was at Sporting Lisbon, what did he do? See, Portugal is one of the best places to grow at. Achu was
still a very young player.
Achu was in Portugal. That's when the world knew him. Chelsea came for him, gave him to Vitesse Arnhem. At some point, they brought him back. When we had the opportunity to have our left back, what's his name? The guy who played for Chelsea. What did he do? The players are not good enough. Somebody needs to sit our players down and tell them they are not good enough. When Stephen Appiah was at his prime, you know the teams that were cutting him. You know the circumstances surrounding his departure from Juventus, because he chose his national team over us, to the point that he ended at Galatasaray. At the time, you know that big club. Listen, let's not kid ourselves. Our players did not get moves because it has nothing to do with agents. Some of our players are signed to some of these top agents in the world. We have players who are in the same agency with Kevin De Bruyne. We have players who are signed with Rock Nations. So it has nothing to do with our players. Our players are not good enough. Tell me one player currently who plays for the Black Stars who can stand toe to toe with a player like Victor Osimhen or even Lookman.
Talking about Ademola Lookman, he is at Atalanta. He is the current African footballer of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell me that this is not a top player?
He's at Atalanta.
He didn't get that move.
Because
Why didn't he get that move?
Because-
Is it not about having the right agents?
no, he didn't get that move.
You have
because-
players like Garnacho going to Chelsea.
Atalanta.
You have players like Sancho. Even Anthony got his move to Betis.
It has
but
not, see,
the
it has-
African
it
footballer
has
of the
nothing
year
to
is
do-
having
no,
a hard
it has
time
not-
getting the transfer.
Lookman's situation, we know why he didn't move, because Atalanta were playing hardball. Inter came with an offer. We want to take him on loan with an option to buy for 30 million. They said no.
Why
They-
should it be about just Inter wanting him on loan? Why are there not other top clubs?
the
after
player
him?
himself wanted to play for Inter Milan.
Did he have other options?
I think that there were other clubs that were circling around him, but he chose it to stay.
So isn't it a
See,
problem?
that's why we
Isn't
say-
it more than talent?
No, that's why we go ahead to say the club has the say, because he knows he's under contract. He cannot decide not to play for Atalanta because he knows the consequences, and so he decided to be a professional. I didn't get my move. He's still playing for Atalanta. You talk about Garnacho. Listen, if Garnacho did not have his issue with the manager, Garnacho will still be a United player. Is Garnacho a bad player? Who in the Black Stars currently can compare himself to
No, the
Alejandro
issue is
Garnacho?
not about whether he had issues or not, but when he wanted that move, he got a top club.
Because he's that good of a player that I think that Garnacho is one of those players, if he decides to focus on playing football. Because listen, for a player, we know.
Ademola Lookman is a top player.
Yeah.
Inter are bidding small money for him. Why are we not seeing other teams come in for him? We saw what he did last season. You want to tell me that Garnacho gets a move to Chelsea and Ademola Lookman is not good enough to get a move to a top
You
team?
don't control who comes to buy you.
Again, that's the point I'm making. Sometimes it goes beyond your talent.
As for that, I mean, I agree.
So our players, or a lot of the African players, you only have a handful of players that get some of these big money moves.
Sammy, that is, if let's say you want to do a statistical analysis, that's just about 2% of the issue. The issue of having a very good agent who can push the right buttons or
Do you
get you
think
the right
Kudus
moves.
would have made that move to Spurs if he had maintained that family and friends thing he was doing after firing his former agent?
I think Kudus would even have probably,
If he hadn't made a quick turnaround,
I think that clearly, if you look at Kudus' trajectory, West Ham was never a landing ground for
it
him.
wasn't.
It was
But
just
would
a
he have
stop-
got that Tottenham move
I think he would have.
if he
It was
hadn't
just a stop
made
that
that
move.
quick turnaround
Yes,
from
I
the
think he
previous
would
decision?
have. But see, Sammy, let's tell our players the truth. If our players improve, if our players could, at the end of the season, score 20 plus league goals playing for their clubs, you think they will not get big moves? Because, come on, that teams in, look at, Sulemana. He ended up in Atalanta because they've seen the potential of this player. They know that no. And Sulemana, at the time he was in France, was one of the best young players.
But per your analogy, what did
rated-
Sulemana do at Southampton last
rated
season?
by
He got them
FIFA
relegated. He was part of the team that got
rated
relegated.
by FIFA as one of their best. Because Atalanta looked around, we needed a speedster. Probably their money could only afford what is it called, Sulemana. He, for me, is about one of the odd one out to have probably gotten an okay deal outside Kudus. The rest all mole class.
Well, let's wrap up. But
I
want a quick take from
Do-
Kofi.
do we
What you
have-
think
do we
about
have
this issue?
Why do you think we didn't get good moves?
Well, like as I think Lucky makes excellent points. I
Young players were bad.
actually believe that we are living in a fool's paradise. We actually are embracing what we are not. The truth is that I look at this generation of Black Stars players and then I compare it to the previous generation. And I think that the golfing class is too wide. Too wide.
Ghana and Asia.
Too wide. I mean, come on. Today we have Kudus being a superstar of the Black Stars. Come on. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. You understand? I mean, today we say Kudus is our star boy. Star boy. Kudus is our star boy.
Did you have a star boy when we had the ACN? I think there was no star boy.
Kudus would not have been fit to lace the boots of Sule Muntari or Michael Essien.
I don't agree.
Never.
I don't agree.
Never.
That's a scandalous statement.
You understand? Kudus would never, if he was in the Michael Essien era,
Could they be always come from the
he
bench?
would be carrying water around.
That's a very disrespectful statement.
that's the
to me.
truth.
The statement,
start in that
this
team.
statement is very, very disrespectful.
That team,
Let me
it was a
ask
start.
Jeff
That
one. Let me
A
ask
very
Jeff one
That team was
question.
a start.
Let me ask
disrespectful
Jeff.
statement
Let
to
me
make.
one. Let me
Let's
ask.
agree
let
that
me
it's
ask-
a very
that-
disrespectful statement to make.
Granted.
Let's not.
Well, guys, it's been another interesting episode here, and we have ended with a very, very interesting argument. And
Come on.
we forced Jeff to come on set, but as I said earlier on, just like and comment and subscribe. Sports 101. Let's know what you think about the conversation that we've had so far. We've talked about a whole lot. There's been transfers. We've talked about the Black Stars and why some of our players are not making those big money moves during the transfer windows. Is it about quality? Is it about bad representation? We don't have high profile agents to market our players aside their own God-given talent. We talked about all that. We talked about the Black Stars and the double header against Chad and Madagascar. And so Chad and Mali, today and Monday. So it's been a big conversation here. We also looked at player power when it comes to the transfers. Again, as I said, kindly subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know what you think. And follow Sports 101 on Fantasy Premier League. Join the conversation. The code is on the screen. Let's know how good you are when it comes to football management and your predictions. It's been another interesting episode here. I was here with Kofi and Lucky. Jeff joined in to just cause unnecessary arguments about Kudus and the Black Stars. So until our next episode, see you soon, guys.